We just did some basic differentiation rules, right? Made it a lot easier to calculate derivatives. So now we're going to look more at certain rates of change. And obviously, the first one we're going to look at is position. Physics. This physics is also. So we say that S of t is the position function. Now keep in mind that this discussion is oversimplifying motion because we're only looking at a single direction, one direction, whatever direction S happens to be. Right, we're moving along a line or a single curve, we're only looking at one direction. It's actually multi-directions, you need vectors, which is Calc 3. But everything extends. Velocity is the derivative of position. Speed is the absolute value of velocity. Is change in velocity. Position. So change in position is velocity. Velocity is acceleration. What's change in acceleration?
Jerk.
What's change in jerk?
Bounce.
Well, I think that's one of the terms, but it's a new one. Snap.
Crackle, pop.
Yeah.
Block, drop, shot, put.
Those aren't actually accepted.
Oh, fandom.
We went up to pop as the only ones that are actually accepted in the physics community. Oddly enough. Why do we need them? We don't. Never use them, right? So yeah, it is jerk and then snap, crackle, and pop. And change in jerk is snap, change in snap is crackle, change in crackle is pop. So if someone was hungry. By the way, what's the position? What is position change of?
Abscission.
I think that's right. And that's change of something, right? And that's a change of something, and so on and so forth. Is it ever used? No. 2 years of studying physics. A lot of advanced physics courses, I've never gone above acceleration or below position. So why they decided to name them, I don't know. Probably some mathematician who was bored. P of t represents the number of entities in a population. Population growth rate is P prime. Right. Something that's very common with population is the idea of exponential growth. Right. Bacterial colonies growing. We also have just population growth in general of a city, a country, things like that. And then we move on to economics. So you have the cost function C of x. Marginal cost is just the derivative of cost. You have a revenue function. You have marginal revenue, which is just change in revenue with respect to not time this time, right? The marginals, notice, are with respect to units produced, not time. And then you have your profit function, revenue minus cost, and you have marginal profit as well, which is just the change in profit with respect to units produced. These are not the only rates of change. There are lots of them, right? But in general, no matter what subject you're in, if it's asking for how something is changing, that is a derivative. Object's position given by negative 16t squared plus 64. Measured in feet. We want to do three things. So we'll tap them one at a time. First thing we want to do, calculate velocity from 0 seconds to h seconds, average velocity. Now remember, that is going to be average rate of change in position. Right, S of h minus S of 0 over h minus 0. What we're doing is we're finding the difference quotient of position, right? What did we say S was? Negative 16t squared plus 64. And then at 0, just 64, right? Negative 16h. One second, 1/2 second, 1.9, and 1.99. So here's what I'm going to do.
But here,
It's just a single scale, okay? Capital delta, that's what it is. Capital delta. Delta S of h is defined as, what did you say, it was negative 16h? I'll just create a table of values. H we said they were, the H values are 1.1, 1.5, 1.9, 1.99. Does it give me, okay, so it does give me units. What are the units? So what are the units of velocity?
Meters per second.
Not in this case. Feet per second. What does the average of velocity appear to be approaching?
32.
So a question mark, maybe? Looks like that's what it's going to. Now they want us to do what? Find an expression for the object's velocity at time t. I'm going to introduce you to new notation. Dot notation. You know what that is? Yes, finally something you don't know.
I don't know those things.
Oh no, you knew about snap, crackle, and pop. Almost no one knows about that, so. Dot notation is shorthand in physics. To be a derivative with respect to time. Because obviously that's what we use in physics a lot. Right, so it's S dot. So look at S. What's the derivative?
32t. Negative 32t.
And then determine the object's velocity at 2 seconds and compare the results.
Negative 64.
Negative 64 what?
Feet per second.
Oh dear. Yeah, that's not what that's approaching, is it?
Negative 32.
By the way, all that is right.
Derivative would be minus 32h, wouldn't it? Oh, wait.
Just negative 32t, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all those calculations are right.
So how do you roll?
Physics.
Oh my gosh, it changed direction. Wait, did it? Okay. Sorry, I'm so accusatory.
It's just math.
It's more about.
How does that, wait, what? How does that equal negative 64 if h approaches, or is approaching to, is that negative 3? Or multiple 3? How does that exist? I don't know. I thought.
If we actually took the limit, that limit better give you negative 64, right? So verify that that limit actually does give you 64, negative 64 feet per second. So our velocity, our actual velocity, is twice what the averages appear to be approaching. That's interesting.
Because average divides by 2.
Well, average isn't necessarily, actually, yeah. Average is essentially going to wind up getting divided by 2 right from 0 to 2. Object has position given by t cubed minus 4t plus 2. S is in meters, t is in seconds. Find expressions for velocity and acceleration, and then determine velocity and acceleration after 1 second. So what is S dot?
3t minus 4.
3t squared plus 2.
And what's that going to be measured in?
Meters per second.
A of t. V dot, right? Which is S double dot, the second derivative of the position. Which is what?
Uh, 60. I don't need it.
With double derivative or just 60?
Meters per second per second.
Meters per second squared.
See, I'm glad that you said what you said, because that is correct. We write it as meters over seconds squared, but that is not meters per second squared. It's meters per second per second. There is a difference. Meters per second squared would represent a change for every square second. Right, a change in meters for every square second, which is not what we're doing. Right, it's a change in meters per second every second. And then B, velocity acceleration after 1 second.
That's 6 meters per second.
So what's the velocity?
6 meters per second squared. -1 meter.
Just meter.
Meter squared.
What is velocity measured in?
Meters per second.
-1 meter per second. What is the acceleration?
6 meters per second per second.
Like that notation. I'm going to stick with the actual notation. I like that better. That makes the jerk fun, right? B meters per second per second per second. Ooh, means the pop would be really fun. What does that negative in velocity mean?
No, that's displacement.
So, not necessarily moving to the left,
Like moving in the negative direction.
the negative direction, whatever they decide what direction that is.
Alright.
More specific, the position is decreasing, right? Each second. Specifically, how's it decreasing? By 1 meter each second. But that's at 1 second. Well, the acceleration being 6 would mean at 1 second, your velocity is increasing by 6 meters per second every second. So we'd expect that V of 2 should be 5 meters per second, somewhere around there. But now that means that velocity, that your position is now increasing.
So your position is only decreasing at 1 second.
Velocity being negative means it's decreasing.
Yeah,
Right, your position is
zero
decreasing.
because moving on.
I say decreasing. When I say decreasing, I don't mean it in the standard sense. It means that you're moving in the negative direction. So you're decreasing in your relative reference frame.
It's kind of like when you start with a manual car and then it goes back or it's backward, down, sometime, slowly
This stuff just gets really weird later. That's also the difference, by the way, between change in position and displacement.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Distance and displacement, they're two different things. Right? Displacement is a change in position. So if you start at your house, walk to a grocery store, well, let's say we're being ambitious. Say the grocery store is 5 miles away. You decide to walk for some reason, whatever reason. And then you went back home.
Your distance is
What was your displacement?
0.
0.
Distance.
Because you started and ended at the exact same spot. Distance, though, is the entire thing, 10 meters. Miles, I said. I'm used to meters, but yeah. Maybe the 10 miles. object has position given by that. Determine the times where the object is moving forward and the times where the object is moving backwards. Well, we just said velocity is a change in position. If that change is positive, then your position is quote unquote increasing, right? So you'd be moving forward,
Positive direction.
right? If your velocity is negative, you'd be moving in the opposite direction. So a positive velocity is going to mean you're moving forward. A negative velocity is going to mean you're moving backwards. I'm going to keep writing that out. Easy. What is that velocity?
50 squared minus 18t plus 24.
So there's two things you want to solve, right? Two inequalities that you want to solve. Think back. For polynomials, only polynomial functions. How do you solve an inequality? Now, by the way, actually, it's going to be the same process regardless of the function type. It's just how you go about those steps that changes. So how do you solve an inequality? And this is what pre-calculus, by the way, should be a 2-semester course. Because there's not enough time to get to it in 1 semester. So you have to think back to algebra. Actually, a lot of schools are going to a 2-semester pre-calculus now.
The opposite of B, that plus or minus the.
So that is solving a quadratic equals there, finding
yeah.
roots of a quadratic. Not necessarily an inequality. For purposes of this discussion, I'm going to stick with polynomial. Greater than 0 means what? So with relation to a coordinate plane.
In the first order.
First or fourth one.
I'm not talking about x being greater than 0. I'm talking about the function being greater than 0.
It's on the top half.
Well, that would mean less than 0.
Opposite.
What does that represent?
Yeah.
just do a simple function for illustrative purposes, but it's going to be extended.
X squared plus.
This piece up here, you'd agree, is positive, right? And this piece here?
The same.
And then this piece down here, we'd all agree is,
Negative.
yeah, no, that's not what I want to do. I'm not gonna do it. I'll just do those. It doesn't have to cross the axis to switch from positive to negative. Which means it's going to have points where it equals 0. Those are called your break points. You want to find those first. So you need to find your break points. So you set your function equal to 0 and solve. Those give you break points where it equals 0. Well, then you examine to the left of the breakpoint, to the right of the breakpoint. It's either going to be positive or negative on one side, positive or negative on the other side. Right? It could be the same on both sides, right? It doesn't have to actually cross the axis at the breakpoint. It could do or if you just look at x squared, it at 0 turns back. It's always positive, right? So it could touch the axis instead and then go back to positive. So that is a possibility. But in order to change sign, it's going to have to go through, which is why we want the breakpoints. So we're going to need to solve that quadratic being 0. Make life easy. Is there a common factor?
Yes.
What is it?
3.
Multiply the entire thing by 1/3.
Just put it over 3.
T squared minus 6t plus 1.
Over 3.
I already took it. All right, so that makes life easier. Now, what you want to do is keep track. Right, we divided by 3, which is positive, so it's not going to change our results. If it was negative instead, it would change my results. So you just have to keep track of that. Right? Can that be factored?
Yeah.
That can be factored with integer coefficients, right?
Yeah.
What are the factors of 8 that we want?
4 and 2.
And how are the signs?
Negative and negative.
Yeah, negative and negative.
Those are the 2 breakpoints. It's guaranteed in each of those 3 intervals that the function has the same sign the entire time. What's the sign? I'll just pick a point. Oh, that first one's nice as 0. Plug it back into the function. Factored form makes it easier. Negative times negative.
Positive.
2 to 4 is 3. 3 minus 2 is positive. 3 minus 4 is negative. What's positive times negative?
Negative.
4 to infinity. I like to pick large numbers.
12.
10, 100, 1,000. It doesn't matter. 10 works. 10 minus 2, 10 minus 4, both positive. Positive times positive is positive. Now we can actually look at the inequality itself. If the inequality is greater, you take the positive intervals. To determine if your breakpoints are included, it depends on if it's a greater than or equals to or just greater than. right? Or if it can equal 0, then you include your breakpoints. If it can't, then you can't include the breakpoints. Ours are just greater than and less than, right? So it's moving forward. Now, does that answer make sense? It does.
Wait,
What are they intervals of?
Well, a negative t would make sense, right?
Hmm?
Would it?
That's one I'm asking.
Yeah.
What are they intervals for?
0 onward,
What's the measure?
the time.
So do those intervals make sense for time?
no,
No.
can't have it in time, can you?
You can have infinite time.
Can't have it in time. Can't have, you can't have
Negative time doesn't make
negative
sense.
time. Makes sense, yeah. Maybe we just need time travel. No,
You still don't have negative time. Because you can't go back to before time began. That would not be possible.
I was there.
Oh, by the way, time travel also wouldn't work the way you think it does. You wouldn't be able to travel back beyond, past the point where time travel was invented. At the point time travel was invented, there becomes a loop. That's as far back as you'd be able to go.
Go forward though. We're always going forward, constantly. It's happening right now.
Would you ever go forward in time?
Yeah, because time travel would exist every time after that time, though. Unless time travel suddenly didn't exist after you made it.
Yes, I would argue you could travel forwards in time once it's discovered, because then it just keeps looping.
I mean, traveling forward in time is always pretty easy. It's the other way around, it's always difficult.
Although actually, you're actually seeing in the past right now. Light takes a certain amount of time to reach your eyes. So what you're seeing is light from the past. For instance, the sun. Go out and look at the sun. You're not seeing the sun as it is right now.
7 minutes ago.
8 minutes.
Oh, it's all like that.
It takes about 8 minutes for light to travel from the sun to Earth. Look at our closest star, Alpha Centauri. 4.2 light years away. So you're seeing it as it was 4.2 years ago, not as it is right now.
Yeah.
And we don't know. We don't know until 4.2 years after it's forming, which is actually very scary.
So once I graduate, I'll know what it looks like right now. Depending on if I do 4 years.
Well, I mean, you're not going to. Well, that's from Alpha Centauri, yes.
Yeah.
Right, so 4.2 years from now, you know what Alpha Centauri looks like today.
That should show.
Which again is actually very scary, because one of the most dangerous things out there is a gamma ray. Its energy is so intense that it actually shreds you at the atomic level.
Oh.
And guess what? Gamma rays travel at the speed of light. So we have no warning. By the time we know it's here, it's already here. So that's pretty scary.
Oh, yeah, okay, what's that?
No advance warning. You just poof, gone. Even your atoms don't survive. There's just nothing left of it. Completely vaporized.
I mean, you wouldn't really miss anything. Everything would be gone. Right?
I guess it really depends on your beliefs if you believe in an afterlife.
No, I'm saying like you wouldn't miss anything on Earth. Everything would be gone.
If it would be an Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
So it should be closed 0 to 2.
No, I forgot about that part.
and that's moving backwards 2 to 4 seconds. At 2 and 4 seconds, it's not moving anywhere. At those instances, it's stationary, right? Because your velocity is 0. The more you study the universe, the more you realize the universe has a lot of ways to kill you, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. So you just accept your fate. If the universe wants you dead, you're dead. You're not stopping it.
I'm working on something. Either way, death is inevitable. It's the only thing guaranteed in life.
No,
Taxes.
life and taxes. Life and taxes are the only 2 things guaranteed in life. Or death and taxes, only 2 things guaranteed in life.
Well, in order for death to happen, there must first be life, logically. If death is
Do
the
you
ending of life,
really want to go down this path?
No. I mean, my mom's a
Do you really want to go down this path?
Okay, as for the taxes.
Is- Are you actually alive? Is any of this real?
No.
To be real?
I think, therefore I am.
Okay, but who's observing you thinking?
I am.
Okay, but who's observing you?
Me.
Because quantum mechanics says, unless there's an observer, it doesn't exist.
Quantum mechanics doesn't say anything, it's a bunch of time tables.
So if there's no observer, you don't exist. So who's observing you?
I am.
A black
I'm
hole.
looking at you right now.
Who's observing the black hole?
Space and time. Or, no, everything.
Depends on what you believe.
If a tree falls in the forest and runs around to hear it, then what the heck is going on?
That's the argument. There has to be a first observer, but who's observing that observer? This is where what you said. If you believe in a higher power that's outside the laws of physics, then all this is real. If you don't, then this is probably just one giant simulation and none of it exists.
Do you have a
Or it's
therapist?
just
And
human
how often do you
or
meet with them
it's
themselves?
human
I don't have a
creativity.
therapist.
I think you should get one.
Nah.
Or it's just human creativity. If you first find stuff, that's why we can't ask one day. And we can never do it.
But this is what happens when you study physics.
Not going into physics then.
It's part of our physics.
That is one of. There's actually a theory that this is just a simulation
Oh yeah, there's so many theories.
because it follows all the rules of simulation.
It's such a boring take at this point.
No.
Are we in a math class?
No.
Physics is math, by the way.
So, once can I figure out how much pressure it'll take to crush something? Does that count 3?
Pressure is usually studied when you study fluid mechanics.
Okay, so it's 4-year mechanical engineering.
But that's fluid pressure. When you study other types of pressure, typically with fluids, is when you're first introduced to it. But that's an introduction. When you actually study more advanced pressure, I don't know what course that would be. Probably a standard classical mechanics.
Oh, yeah, probably mechanics. Higher level mechanics and solids.
That's what classical mechanics is, a higher level. So that's probably when you study it more in depth. When you first look at it with the intro to fluids.
And thermodynamics, I'm assuming.
Typically it's followed with that, yes. Price of a product is given by that measured in USD. X is the number of units produced. Evaluate and interpret marginal revenue with a production level of 100 units. Determine the increase in revenue when increasing production from 100 to 101 units. So first, we need the revenue function. Now, what's revenue?
Oh, is it negative 0.03? Is that the answer? No, it's not the answer. That's unfortunate.
How can you determine revenue?
Well, isn't it cost minus?
That's profit.
um,
And it's revenue minus cost. But what's revenue?
So it would be profit plus cost?
What's profit? And what's the cost?
We could go up, just where we go up and down. And stuff, is that what-
It's actually really obvious.
Is it nine? Or down?
Revenue, isn't it how much something's worth times the number of units sold? Wouldn't that just be X times P of X?
Yeah, I guess, we know X is 100 units.
There's your revenue function. Like I said, really obvious. Just the number of units sold times the price for each unit. Now we can calculate marginal. Marginal revenue is that derivative.
9 minus 0.06x.
Three?
Yeah,
3 what?
$3.
2 units?
No, it's a rate of change.
Oh, it's, dollars divided by units?
Not divided by percent.
For the,
$3 per unit is your marginal revenue.
It means you gave $3 when you go to 101 units.
Not exactly. You want to say approximately. You would expect
To gain
Or-
$3.
each extra unit produced beyond the 100 would increase revenue by approximately $3. But again, you have to be careful because you don't want to say, oh, well, that means I make 20 more units and I'm going to get $60 more. Because that's too far away from the marginal. Now what we're going to do is look, it says to find the actual revenue increase. Well, wouldn't that just be this?
Yeah.
That's the actual delta R.
We just leave it like that.
That's R of 101. So that's why you actually have to go up to the R of X function. You want to do 101 squared in your head, be my guess.
No, I tried and I just gave up immediately.
It's actually not that bad. 101 is just 100 plus 1 squared. 100 squared plus 2 times 100 times 1 plus 1 or plus 1 squared. 100 squared is 10 to the 4th, 10,000. 10,000 plus 200,
10,000.
10,200 plus 1. There's 101 squared. See, it wasn't that hard.
Then we take 3%.
Yeah, but then you need to do 0.03 times that. That's why it's probably easier just to do this. I'm just going to type into a calculator. R of X first. Defined as 9x minus 0.03x squared. $2.97.
So it'd be approximately $3.
It's pretty close to 3, right?
Yeah. But the true price.
The true revenue increase. based on this model, is $2.97. Cost producing a certain product is given by that. Find and interpret dc dx at x equals 100. So what's dc dx?
7 plus 0.001.
What is that called, dc dx? That's true, but it has a name in economics.
Marginal cost?
The marginal cost. Now you value that at 100, what do you get?
9.
9 what?
9,000.
Interpret that. What does that mean?
So for every unit sold over 100,
Not sold.
or for every unit produced over 100, the revenue would be
Not
9.
revenue. Cost.
It will cost you.
Right, so each unit produced above 100 would cost about $9. Actual cost increase. Same thing, right? C101 minus C100. Too lazy. Just write my answer sheet. $9.01. Okay. So essentially what the marginal is doing is, if you have the cost model, let's say you want to know, okay, so we're already at a production level of 500. Or now, actually, in both of these cases, you'd be fired.
Right.
You overestimated the extra revenue. Your boss isn't going to be happy with that. Boss made less than you said. You're fired.
But why would it be fired if he? Oh, well, it costs him more than he said. Yeah.
No, I'm saying here revenue.
No, I'm saying for the other one. Yeah.
Right
you
here.
Yeah.
You're fired. It costs more than you said.
Yeah.
You're fired. Right, so be careful. Right? You'll probably better overestimate cost
Well, you're more
and
likely to
underestimate revenue.
get the IRS on you than you get fired for that, most likely.
Well, no, because this is just an estimate. What you report is something different.
Ah.
If you then report less revenue than you made,
I,
you're going to be fired for a whole other reason. You'll also be happy until he gets caught. Then the boss throws you under the bus.
and then you go to jail. They're fined.
You can get sued. I think
No, you want to go to jail.
you can get sued though.
Now, for underestimating, your revenue, you want to go to jail for that. They'd audit you, and then you have to pay back. You just have to pay what you owe.
As an accountant, you did that to somebody.
If you did it maliciously, that's what you have to prove. Also, just think about taxes. Is it illegal to not pay taxes?
Yeah.
No,
No,
it's not illegal.
it's not illegal to not pay your taxes.
If you make less than $18,000 a year,
No,
you don't
regardless.
have to- Yeah,
If you make $500,000, it's not illegal not to pay taxes.
it's
It's illegal not to file. You have to file your taxes, but there's no law that says you have to pay. So they can't throw you in jail for not paying. You have to file, so you have to go in and actually file how much you earn and how much you should be paying in taxes. That's filing.
Oh, so you have to say how much you should be paying,
Yes.
you actually have to pay it?
So you have to go to an accountant and file your taxes, you have to fill out that 1040 form. That's filing. So that you have to do. If you don't do that, you go to jail.
Oh my gosh, being an adult is so.
If you don't pay it, you don't go to jail. It's not a crime. However, the IRS is extremely powerful, and they garnish your wages. And they can actually just go into your bank account and take everything they want.
Oh my gosh.
And everything they need to pay it all.
So they have that power. It's arguable whether that's actually constitutional. I would argue it's not. Problem is, you have to get enough people suing the IRS for it to make the Supreme Court to be wrong. So that's never been ruled on. So it's actually questionable on whether they can constitutionally garnish your wages. But right now they have that power.
Yeah.
So keep just bear that in mind. You won't go to jail for not paying.
Wait, isn't it like for taxes, if you say you make this much, but you go and, I donated half of it, or.
Those are, so,
Ways around.
the tax code actually changed.
um,
It changes every year, but the tax code, that changed. Write-offs aren't as big anymore. They used to be huge.
Yeah.
Like my entire college life, I paid $0 in taxes for all my write-offs, which is why I paid my guy $250 a year to do my taxes.
You think for a trick, they're not intentional.
He managed to get, so I recently sold a piece of land and made, I think it was $45,000 profit. He managed to get that profit down to like $100 with all the legal write-offs. Because I had lost costs and everything. So my ultimate profit, he rounded up being able to raise my basis price so that I only made $100 in profit. That's why I pay him $250 a year.
So he helped you unfortunately detainer time without being thrown in jail.
Wait, clarify, is this some random guy or is this?
No, it's my tax guy. I've been using this guy for years.
An accountant?
He's a CPA and CPF, I believe it's called. So he's both financial and accountant. He's an accountant and a financial advisor. Yeah, don't do taxes yourself. You will be audited. Pay a guy to do it. Those are just basic rates of change. It's really all we can kind of look at right now because we just have the basic rules. But now we're going to be looking at rates of change as we continue on. So questions on rates of change? So, good work. Okay, yes.
To be very honest, I definitely do agree with them, making pre-calculus 2 semesters.
So-
It should be 2 semesters.
But you gotta realize, I took pre-calculus honors in high school, and I took pre-calculus again last semester, and they never taught me limits.
No, limits shouldn't be taught for calculus.
Yeah, but when you brought up inverses, I literally had to pull up my notes from high school.